Hi guys. For some of the people who've been watching my channel for a number of years now, you probably know that I specialise sort of in local wonders, mostly my local area, and I also do other areas in the UK, go for little walks and things like that around the area and try and take in whatever I can. Most of the stuff I like to do is just try and capture the now, really, because you know those pictures that you see from the 1900s and from the 1960s, the cine film and things like that. I like to try and capture stuff now because, especially in my local area, when I started doing this, and still really till today, there's not that many people capturing the now, so to speak. Google Maps goes round, so you can have a whirl round on the little picture thing that they've got on there, so you can do a 380 or 360 even. Video, well, not video, photo look around the areas that you come from, but there's not that many people recording the now, in my area at least. You know, places like London, etc., they do. My other passion is photography. I've been taking photos since I was a little kid. I used to take photos with my nan's little 126 camera back in the day, and I later progressed whilst I was at school. The teacher used to let us lend a VHS video camera, and we used to make terrible films with it. I later progressed on to like VHS-C and things like that over the years. And in photography, I moved on from SLR cameras, when I couldn't really afford to get all the film developed all the time back then because it was expensive and I was a bit skint back in school and college and what have you. And then I progressed later on to DSLRs. And then onto mirrorless. So I've been taking photos and video for quite some time. I'm quite keen on 360 video. I've got like the Insta360 X5. I walk around with the DJI Pocket 3. I've got an old Sony A7S II to wander around at night because I'm quite keen on night. So I was quite surprised when I had an email drop in the email box from a company called Dehancer. Now, Dehancer are a film emulation plugin that you can get for a variety of different softwares. It works in DaVinci Resolve, works in Premiere, it works in Final Cut Pro, it works in Adobe Photoshop and Lightroom, and a couple of others as well. And they also do an iOS app. I don't think they do an Android app yet, but that's probably coming. And there's also Dehancer Online, where I think you can do a few things online as well. But I was quite surprised because my alternate passion is photography, and for quite a number of years now I've been playing with things called LUTs on the computers. So I'll go out and I'll make a video and then I'll have a play around with LUTs trying to make things look old-fashioned, so to speak. And Dehancer got in touch recently, and I've been looking at Dehancer for a while. And they said, oh, we've watched a couple of your videos and we're interested in doing sort of a little sponsorship thing with you. They basically let me use Dehancer for a month and see what I think, and I've got to write an honest review or speak an honest review about how I found the software and what I thought of it. So me and Amber have had a little look around, a bit of a play with it. I mean, we're total noobs to this. I generally use DaVinci Resolve free version, not the studio version. But I'm also in a camera club now, and they've been egging us on for ages to get Photoshop. So I had a look on Adobe recently, and there was a deal on where you could get the full package for about half price, I think it was, for everything. So you got Premiere Pro, you got After Effects, you got Photoshop, etc., etc. So we're coming into this as total noobs. I know you get to see quite a few people reviewing Dehancer online who put that they're beginners, but obviously been photographers and videographers for many years, and they know exactly what they're doing and they've got all the lingo, etc., whereas us two haven't. We're going to be diving into the softwares, new really. We're not really completely au fait with Premiere, haven't got a clue when it comes to Photoshop, and we're going to have a play with both of those and see how we do with Dehancer, and see if we can get some of the photos looking a little bit older, so to speak. It's got quite a lot of film emulations in there. There's Agfa, there's Kodak, Ilford. There's a variety of films, black and white ones, and all sorts in there to play with. So you can make your film look as though it was made in the Charlie Chaplin era, or you can make it look as though it was back in the Avengers 60s or something like that. So we're going to have a little bit of a play and see what we can come up with some of our footage. and see how it goes. And we're also going to have a quick go with the iOS app. I've just now licensed the app. I've had a little play with it and see how we get on with that as well. So like I say, we're coming in as total noobs. We're going to give it all a blast and see how we get on, and then you guys can have a look and see what you think as well. Dehancer have also provided me with a code that I'll have to stick on the screen somewhere, or get Anne-Marie to figure out how to do it. And you get 10% off if you subscribe to their program, or if you sign up for Dehancer, you can get 10% off, which is nice. So we'll have to see how we get on, and if the review goes well, hopefully Dehancer will let me play with it for a little bit longer as well. So what I will say is probably over the next 12 to 18 months, I don't know how long they'll let me keep it for after the review's done, we'll probably start getting a little bit more used to the softwares, Premiere and Photoshop especially, and might start looking into doing a few little projects with Dehancer. There's one that I've been trying to do for ages in Betsy Coed. I've got a picture from 1963 that my granddad took, and every single time I get to Betsy Coed, the sun is going down, it's starting to get dark, and I can't recreate the lighting of the image. Anne-Marie's just been there today, and I sent her a text saying, get the photo, get the photo. And when she come back through the door, she said, I didn't get your text. Drat. Oh well, but never mind, that might be one for the future. And we can see what other things we can do with it as well. But nonetheless, I'm going to stop this now, grab Anne-Marie. We'll dive into perhaps Premiere, and then perhaps dive into Photoshop on another day, and then perhaps have a look at the iOS app as well and see how we get on with it. So like I say, total beginners. Let's see what we're up against, I suppose. I'm sure there's lots of people out there who'll be going, oh, you adjust the contrast, you adjust the colours and things like that, all sorts of different emulation settings and things like that that we're not completely aware of. So maybe over time we'll start to become more aware of those. But from a beginner's point of view, and I mean a proper beginner's point of view, let's have a look, see what you can do with it, and see if it's any use to you guys. It might be of use to some of you guys. I think you can also sub to this for about a month if you wanted to. You don't have to keep it forever. I think they do a month, something like 3 months, 12 months, and a lifetime. It's not a very cheap program. I'll put the prices below later. I'll try and put a link to their website as well. And they've sent me some fancy graphics to stick over the overlay on here that I'll try and add if I can figure out how to do that as well. So it's all up in the air at the moment. But yeah, let's go and have a look at Dehancer and see what you guys think. Yeah, okay, let's get in there. Okay, hopefully this comes out okay, guys. We're recording this onto the DJI Pocket 3. Myself and Anne-Marie were shocked the other day because we had an email from a company called Dehancer. I've looked at Dehancer in the past. I've never really used it, but it's a piece of software that allows you to take modern day camera footage, like from your GH6s and your DJI Pocket 3s and things like that, and you can make it look as though the footage was recorded in the past. You can add film grain to it, halation and bloom and loads of other different things in the editing software of your choice. I mean, you can use the DaVinci Resolve if you want to, the studio version only, and you can use Adobe Premiere. It works in Photoshop and Lightroom, and there's also a mobile app that we'll have a look at later on. Now we're quite new to this. We've never done screen recording before, so hopefully this comes out.
It comes out alright, eh?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
We haven't really used Dehancer that much. We're just having a brief go on it now. I'm just going to see what we can do. And it's been quite some time since I used Premiere, because I tend to use DaVinci, the free version. I don't use Premiere that much, but I have subbed recently to the suite to get Lightroom and Photoshop, etc. So there was a good deal on at the time, and we've grabbed hold of the full suite of Premiere, etc., Adobe applications, and I've installed Dehancer on Adobe Premiere, so we're going to give it a blast now and see what kind of a mess that we can come up with, aren't we? I've got a couple of clips ready. hopefully, if this has worked correctly, we'll be able to flick you over to the screen now and show you where we're up to. I've made a few different little projects on here. The only two really that I've used is Dehancer Tryout and Dehancer Tryout 2 Lancaster. So all I've done is imported a clip from the GH6. I recorded this in logs, so this one should be fairly easy to play with in Dehancer, because you can play with the camera profiles and things like that, which I'll show you in a moment. But at the moment here you can see that I've got like a T-bird driving along. If I reverse the clip a bit, it starts off with a Jaguar. This is just at the Oswestry Showground recently, the Clwyd Vintage and Veteran Machinery Society show, and it was just the cars going around the ring. It's always a little bit tricky to make things look as though they're from the past when you've got all sorts of vehicles from the future in there. The Lancaster also was tricky because you've got crowds with mobile phones and things like that. So this may be something that you'd like to use if you're in a non-crowded place maybe, or you've got a set that you set up yourself and things like that, so you haven't got interference from anything that's going to spoil your image. If you want to make it look like it's come from the 1960s, for example, and you've got someone in a Porsche Cayenne driving past, it's not really going to do the footage justice, is it? But anyway, here we go. We've got our clip on here. I've just plonked a clip on to the Premiere timeline. Nothing particularly clever. As you can see, it's just a few cars driving around the track. Fairly flat, loggy colour profile. And then all I do now is go into effects at the bottom here, and go to video effects, and you see this one called Film Emulation. Well, when you install the Dehancer plugin, you get a plugin for Premiere, and it puts this Film Emulation plugin in your effects part of the program. What you do then is grab hold of Dehancer Pro and just bung it onto your clip, and then that's on there now. At the moment it's on, and turn it off and on. You see the differences there, slight, ever so slight differences. Right, I'm going to leave that turned on, but one thing that you will find when you very first put this onto Premiere, for example, see this license info business at the bottom here, you have to click in there and you have to activate the license, because if you don't it won't work. And also another thing you'll notice as well, see this check profiles button here at the bottom? If you go up to input, if my mouse allows me to, taking it off the mouse mat so it's going insane. Yeah, up at the top there is input. If you click on there, it's currently set to Rec 709, which is not what I want. I want to select it. I want to select my camera. This one was taken on the GH6, so I'll click on choose camera, camera not selected, and if I look through this lovely list of cameras here, there's even has iPhone and all sorts in here. And if I drop down to Panasonic, in there we've got the GH6, click on that, and ta-da! It's set this up ready for use with the software. The only thing with this you might notice is when you go to choose camera, when you very first install the software and you click in here, there's nothing in here. So what you have to do is click on check profiles, and when you click on check profiles, it downloads a whole pile of stuff. I've already done it, so that was lightning, but if you haven't done that, you won't have the print films installed, you won't have all the cameras installed, you won't have all of the film types installed, etc., because this downloads them all for you and then bungs them onto the program here. That's one thing that I was stuck on, because I was going to choose camera and there was nothing there to pick, because I obviously hadn't clicked on check profile to get to where I wanted to go to. Although there's quite a few videos on Dehancer on the internet at the moment, so a lot of them will probably go a lot more in depth than I do, because I'm a complete noob to this program. I've used this program for about an hour, so it is quite new to me. Anne-Marie hasn't used it at all, have you?
No, I
So
haven't.
we're just going through it all at the moment. But if you click on the Dehancer Pro effect setting, you can then adjust all sorts of things such as exposure compensation, temperature compensation, etc. So you can adjust the exposure of the camera, make it look insane, or you can really darken it down, make it look equally insane. This little button resets the parameter. I'm sure many of you know how to use Premiere already and already know that. You can adjust the temperature of the image, and lower the temperature of the image and make it look a little bit blue, nice and cold. But the ones that I've really taken notice of at the moment are things such as the film profiles. Now at the moment, when you put Dehancer on to your timeline, it enables them that by default. So this one had Kodak Vision 3 250D film stock enabled. It's probably because I've been playing with it earlier. I think 250D stands for 250 daylight. I think 200T is tungsten, so artificial light. But as you can see, there's an absolutely vast amount of different film stocks that you can play with here. I think there is a couple of Ilford ones in here that are black and white, so you can stick these on, get sort of a black and white effect. Now I'm not going to go too in depth into these because these are all sort of personal choice. There's a Polaroid one there, Fujifilm from the Instax cameras, but I quite like the 250D, so I'm going to stick it on 250D for now. And then let's have a look at the video. Here we go. We've got the Jaguar driving around the track, and then we've got a Mark II Ford Escort. And if I click on the profile on the film setting there it is with out, sorry, there it is with, without, and with, so you can see the difference that the film stock is making to the overall footage there. And that's just a small basic amount of stuff that you can do with the software. Another thing that is quite popular is film grain these days. Film grain is enabled on this. If I turn film grain off, now what I'll try and do is get a bit closer in on the image. Let's get to a point where the the Jaguar in this case is reasonably close, and let's zoom in a bit on it. Now this is with film grain disabled, and as you can see here it's reasonably okay. If I whack that film grain on, see the grain suddenly apply to the image. I'll just turn that off again so you can see what I mean. Then we get a nice amount of grain applied to the image, giving it that filmy type look. Halation also, you can turn that on and off, and you see you've got that little glow on the edge there. See that little red glow there? If I turn that off, see there it's gone, and there it is again. Okay, and we've also got bloom, which we can enable, and that gives the film an overall sort of glowing effect. See the glow that appears on and off when I turn that on and off. Now if I zoom back out on this, you can see that you can just about see the halation and bloom in the car there. So if I play it now, it's looking a heck of a lot more filmy, shall we say. Now what I'll do, I'll leave all of these things enabled. I'll stop the video, I'll return it back to where we started, and I'll just turn all of the Dehancer effects off, so they're not on at all now. But look at the difference this is making to the footage. There you go. Let's get it so it's past the shaky bit of grass, back onto the cars again. There it's off, there it's on, there it's off, and there it's on again. Okay, so let's stop that and let's get back a little bit once again. Another thing that you have with Dehancer is film damage. Now I put 35mm film damage on and played it, and you can just about see little bits here and there, but I found it seemed a lot more extreme if I dropped it to 16mm film. Now you're getting a lot more speckles and lines across the image now as the cars are driving past. Now let's see, you've got the line here, see that? Let's turn that off, Turn it back on again. Now, one of the most extreme ones that I saw was 8mm. You can customize the amount of grain, and you can whack it right up using the custom mode here, and you can really do some serious effects with dust and what have you. But for a very basic kind of damaged film look, I quite like the 8mm look on this, because look at this now. See all the scratches and everything in there? Now if you're just a basic user, not totally pro like us, just to get a funny little scratchy old-fashioned film look, just clicking Super 8 on there and you're getting all sorts of scratches etc on your film, and it looks pretty good, doesn't it? If that's the look that you're going for, obviously. I mean, you'd only be interested in Dehancer if you're after this kind of thing, you know. You've got film breath as well, and gate weave and things like that. The one thing that does seem popular with some, I'm not overly fussed by it, is the overscan. I'm sure that it does have its place, to be honest with you, but I don't know. If I stick that on now, and there's your overscan, so you've got the overscan of the film on the side there. I mean, I'm sure that it does, certainly does have its place for people. If I can just get to a stage where we've got a car sort of in the image a bit better, say there we go. Zoom out a little there. One of the things you can do with the overscan as well is adjust the perforation mode here to positive. You can also play with the way the film is leveled, horizontal or vertical. And we've also got, see the oh dear, the what you call it, the gate shape, is it gate shape, sorry. See, it's neat and normal at the moment. Well, you can change that to sharp, so it's got a sharper edge at the top, and I think there's a rounded one, isn't there? Yeah, rounded, there we go, so it makes it a bit more rounded. You can also adjust this to Super 8, etc., the different styles of film. So there's your Super 8 film. You've got your 16mm, so the perforations are in different places for the different types of film, you know. Super 35, Panavision. Let's have a look at that. There we go, there's your Panavision. Widescreen, and your normal 35mm. And you can also add a little bit of a vignette. I'll just turn the overscan off because I'd rather personally just stick a bit of a vignette on the image. So let's get the vignette. I'm not going to play with any of the settings really, you know, from a basic sort of user point of view. I'll just enable. You see how it darkens down as the edges sort of get that vignette effect. I think that from a very basic, scratchy, old film kind of look, from a very basic, simple level, I think we've cracked our first go, so to speak. I think that's looking pretty old-fashioned as it is. If it weren't for the modern cars in the background, like the Fiesta or whatever it is, but and the Astra behind the Thunderbird. But yeah, it's not looking too bad, is it? And that's how very, very simple it is to use. I mean, like I say, me and Amber-E are first time users of this. I mean, it's really just today that we've, or at least I've had to play with it. You haven't had to play with it at all, have you, love?
No, I've just been watching you.
Yeah, so that's one project that I've been playing with. So I'll just close this one. I won't save that for now because we may want to play with that again. And then we've got a Lancaster project. Now, all I've done with this here, as you can see, it's a video and it's got tons of crowd, all with mobile phones, you know, the usual, taking pictures with mobile phones, look. And it was a Lancaster bomber that had come into Harden Airport in North Wales. I think it was part of the Battle of Britain Memorial flight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was that particular one was made at Broughton, just that one.
Yeah, that
in 1945.
Yeah, so it'd be right at the end of the wall, wouldn't it? So yeah, we've grabbed a bit of footage. All I've done on this is put the image into, or the video even, into Premiere. Pardon me, I just get a drink. I'm dying with the flu at the moment, and I've got no idea how I'm making this video. So yeah, I've put the video into Premiere, and all I've done is just a basic crop along the bottom of the image there. One thing I will do, I think, is click zoom and see what that's like. It'll do. It's not the best, but it'll do. So we've cropped out the crowd basically. So let's take this from 34% back to 0. See all this lot with mobile phones and cameras and Gary Newman t-shirts and God knows what else on. So I've just added a bit of a crop to get them out of the way. This is just basic Premiere stuff really, and it's not particularly clever or anything. It's just me having a very basic user kind of go. And then what we want to do then, again, is go into Effects, go to Video Effects, and go into Film Emulation here, and get Dehancer Pro and bung that on top again. And there we go, it's chucked it on. Now the thing with this one, I think it was the GH6, but I don't think I was filming in log for this one, so it'll be interesting to see if I change that from Rec 709 to choose camera GH6. I don't think it's going to be looking that great because it wasn't filmed in log. See, these are all set for vlog, but nonetheless, give it a blast. Okay, there we go. Looks like really oversaturated and stuff, doesn't it? But it doesn't matter too much for me on this one, I suppose, because what I want to do with this one is change it to a black and white video. I mean, there are loads of other film stocks that you can choose from, as you can see here. Let's pick a Polaroid Type 100. Polaroid Type 100 Sepia. There we go. That's an interesting one, isn't it? What's that look like, just out of interest? Yeah. I don't know. You know what? I might actually go for that one, you know. The only problem I've got still with this footage here, and it needs a bit more proper editing. You see this fella's finger in his mobile phone. He's got his kid balanced on his head and he's got his mobile phone out or whatever to get footage of the plane. That's the only thing when you go to see these air shows and things. If you want to get something like this and make it look a bit more authentic, so to speak, it's quite difficult because you're behind a fence if you get up close, so that ruins the image. If you step back a bit, you've got a huge crowd in front of you and they're all dressed like they're from 2025 obviously, and they're all carrying mobile phones and video cameras and things, as am I, so it is difficult to make it look completely authentic. But with a bit of a crop, if we ignore that fella's mobile phone there, we might be able to get away with it. But yeah, I've dropped that to a black and white looking image. Let's go over into Dehancer again now. We've got film grain on, so that's already been added. I wonder what differences these will make. It's if we change that to ISO 50, not seeing a great deal of difference there, are we? How about on that 8mm one? I think that is just lowering the quality really more than anything, isn't it? So let's stick it to ISO 250. Halation, let's enable halation again. So you're going to get all those edges glowing up, and the bloom, what does that look like, do you think? I don't know, it might be a bit too much. But then again, it might add to the faded look, perhaps. We'll put some film breath on this one. We'll also put a little bit of gate weave, so things will be sort of moving around a little. Vignettes, definitely. I quite like vignettes, so we'll slap a bit of that on. And then we have got in here somewhere the film grain, isn't it? Let's give this a play with the okay. It's a shame we've got this little kid in the phone, you know, could probably chop that out, but
use the eraser tool to remove it.
Yeah. But then from just a sort of basic point of view, we've got some footage there, haven't we? So let's go into the film damage again. Now film damage is not enabled at the moment. Let's try 35mm film damage and see what we get in there on the black and white. Do we see a great deal? No, not an awful lot. It might be worth going into custom mode and adjusting that, you know, but I must admit, when it comes to the film damage, I do quite like that 8mm mess that it splats all over the screen. It does just look, I don't know, it just looks quite good. You see all the spots and speckles and lines and bits all over the place. Yeah, I do quite like that. I've paused it before the takeoff because unfortunately when you get to the far end of the video over here, you start seeing crowds of people with video cameras and mobile phones and Slayer and Metallica t-shirts and what have you, so it spoils it a little bit as it's doing its takeoff. But from a basic point of view, it's not too bad. A little bit too bright, so let's have a play with that exposure and what have you up here and see what we get away. Exposure compensation, let's knock it down a bit. How's that looking? Is that a bit better, do you think? It's just a little bit over, isn't it? Let's try that. Yeah, I prefer that. It's got more of a sepia tone to it, hasn't it now? I do quite like that. I think with a little bit more editing and a bit more cropping, I think you could probably get that to look very 1940s. Do you know what I mean? Especially this second bit here when we haven't got our little lad sat atop his dad. If we go past him, I mean, alright, the buildings are a little bit modern looking, unfortunately, but what do you think? I think that looks fairly as though that bomber's off to Germany in World War II or something. Do you know what I mean? I think that does look quite good. So yeah, from a video editing point of view, that's about as far as I've got so far. I'm going to chuck this into Photoshop now and have a bit of a play in there because I haven't really used the Dehancer on Photoshop at all yet. I did install it, but I didn't really get a chance to use it because we had so many family emergencies and things over this time period recently. We haven't had a chance to have much of a play. So I'll pause the video here for a sec and we'll get everything set up for Photoshop and have a bit of a play in there as well. But hopefully that's been of some interest to you. I know it's a little bit long, but then it's quite a basic intro to the software for people who may or may not be interested in it. This might give them a bit of an idea if it'll be of any use to them. One of the things with Dehancer, I must say, is they contacted us. We didn't contact them at all. I'd never really looked into using it because it seemed a bit professional for us really, because we're just a basic small user channel, YouTube channel even, and it was very kind of them to get in touch. They sent us a free copy of this software through the post, and they also said that they were going to do a thing whereby if we gave them a name to use as a code, they give whoever bought a copy of the software 10% discount off it, and we get 10% of whatever profits are made from that. So just thought I'd give you guys the heads up. If you are interested in buying it and use the code Lindopsky, then you will get 10% off, and I'll get 10% myself, which is nice. But you really do need to be interested in actually buying the software and using it really before you start moving in that sort of direction. So we'll have a look at the Photoshop elements of it next and see how far we can get with that. Like I say, I've not used it before, so it'll be interesting to see. I may do that tomorrow when my cold has subsided, hopefully a little bit more, and I'll catch up with you guys then. You anything to add, Anne-Marie? Or?
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we'll have another play tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll have a bit more of a go
and hopefully
figuring
we'll
it all
learn
out.
some more things, and some more things for you to learn as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think over time, what they have said to us is we've got this on free trial for 1 month, and then if we do a review, and we're completely at liberty to say whatever we wish, you know, they've sent us an email saying just be honest basically and see what you think of it, which was nice. But once we've dropped the review, we then get, I think it's 18 months or something free, is it? Something like that,
and
to play with it. So we'll probably be using it a
you
lot.
guys, if you're interested in Dehancer, and there'll be a QR code link on the video, Lindopsky, and you get 10% off. There'll be a QR code which we'll put on the screen for you, and the name Lindopsky, and you will get 10% off through our link if you want to buy Dehancer. So go through our link, and then you will get 10% off Lindopsky.
But also over the period that we do have access to the software, if we do get access to it for 18 months, 2 years, or whatever it was, I think we'll probably use it a fair bit more. So we'll probably add a few more videos over the next few months, won't we? And show you a little bit more, perhaps as we get better. Things. Yeah. And you never know, I might actually get the studio version of DaVinci at some point as well, so we can try it out on there as well. I haven't got that at the moment, unfortunately, but I have got the full version of Premiere Pro, and I've got the full version of Photoshop, so we can try it out on there. We can also try it with other camera profiles. I've got the A7S II, I've got the old Canon T7i, the Pocket 3 even that we're filming on at the moment. See if that can, if it can add anything using that. Perhaps you might be able to. It does iPhone, for goodness sake, so it's worth a shout.
Drone footage?
Yes, possibly, yeah.
If you've got a drone and you want to make it look old and authentic, then
yeah, we could give that a blast
as well.
Yeah, so we'll catch you later. I might just flick Bing straight through onto Photoshop now, because we'll just stop recording this one, go and recover, and then add a little bit more. So this isn't quite the same as some of the Dehancer videos that you see online, because most of them are about 2 minutes long. Ours tend to be always on for ages, just like the rest of our walkabout videos are on for ages, aren't they? So hopefully you'll get some kind of information from this that you find interesting, and maybe it'll give you an idea as to whether it's suitable for whatever you want to use something like this for, or if it's a bit too expensive. I'll put the most current prices down below in the description at the moment, so you can make those decisions. I think it's something like 400 quid for a lifetime license, something like that, which for some is nothing, and for others it's quite a lot. So I do appreciate that. With 10%
off, it's
with 10% off, you get 40 quid off as well, wouldn't you? So yeah, rightio. I'll catch you guys later, hopefully feeling a bit better, and we'll go through a little bit more Dehancer and see how we get on. Okay, bye bye for now, folks. It's bye bye from her too.
Bye, see you later.
Bye bye. Okay, this is now going to be the Photoshop portion of the Dehancer mini review that we're doing, and this is going to be even more difficult because I know Photoshop virtually not at all. I've virtually never used it, but you've used it a little, haven't you? I think, love. Only a small amount. I've only used it a very small amount, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for both of us, this one, as we don't really know Photoshop, and Dehancer is quite new to us both as well. I feel even more rotten today, so bear with me, full of flu. Rightio. Okay, first things first. I've opened up Photoshop. I've installed the Dehancer plugin already. If I go into filters, Dehancer is there at the moment. It's greyed out at the moment because I haven't opened an image. So I'm just going to have a bit of a play with a few of the images. As you can see, there's not many that I've really opened on Photoshop, because we haven't really played with it that much. But one of the images I was going to play with was this one, and just see what we could do with it, really. I was trying to go for sort of a Henri Cartier-Bresson look with this, stick it into a black and white film type look and just see what we can achieve with that. I mean, like I say, it is a bit of a dark art, this, but if we go into filters, go into Dehancer, go into Dehancer Film, then it fires up the plugin for Dehancer. One of the things I have discovered with Dehancer is I can click on this button up the top here, zoom to fit, and it'll zoom in on the image. You can also turn on and off the plugin also. You can also undo any edits that you've made and go into settings and play around in there. There are a few presets that you can click on. These are already in the presets actually. And if you click on films here, you can pick all of the different film stocks to use on the software. If you go into this setting here where it says film type, you can pick different types such as black and white, colour negative, colour positive, motion picture, exotic, etc. Now for us, I was going to go for a black and white look for this one. At the moment, this is a photo from, I think it was Liverpool, when we visited Liverpool in recent months. And when I was looking online to see what sort of film Cartier-Bresson used, it was something like Kodak Tri-X. Now I can't see that one on there. I can see +X pan, and I can also see XX. So I clicked on XX, and it gives us this sort of a view. Let's just tick off some of these settings that we've got here at the moment, because everything seems to be enabled by default. I don't know if that's just because I've been playing around earlier on with the software. It possibly is. So it's probably just remembered what I was using earlier when I had a brief go. Let's minimise these down as well so we can just see what we've got access to in the software when you boot it up. Turn the vignette off as well. Right, there we go. So from a basic point of view, we've taken our colour image and we've slapped on the Kodak Eastman XX522. There's also Agfa. I don't know about that one, but I think that one looks like a modern image that's just being grayscaled a little. Fujifilm Neopan Acros 100, I quite like that one. Some Ilford film, the Kodak Eastman one, Kodak +X Pan 1979, Sfema and a Rollet Ortho 25. That's got, I don't know, an almost distorted type look. There's a lot of motion. There's something along those lines in there. Don't know. I actually do quite like that look, you know. I think previously I was sort of aiming along the lines of the Fujifilm, possibly the Kodak, but I do quite like these. But I think I'm still going to go for the Fujifilm Neopan one. I don't know what it is, but there's something about it I quite like. And now in the Dehancer software here in Source, you can play around with temperature, etc. So and you can play around with your exposure. You can whack it right up and make it insane, or you can make it completely dark as night. You can click reset to knock that back to where it was before. With your temperature, you can, I suppose if it was colour, it'd make the image a bit warmer and a bit cooler. Let's come back out of here. Just minimise that to open up Film Developer. Click on Film Developer and let's give it a bit of a contrast boost. See what we get. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? If we knock it back down, I think that the contrast, in my opinion, if it's really low, it looks like a faded digital image to me. I think that if we do have contrast set to 0, don't know, it just looks a little bit more film-like for me. I don't know if others find that the same. Colour separation in black and white, it's not going to do a great deal. I suppose colour boost would be the same. I'll leave that film developer mode on. In film compression, impact is set to 45 on this. Let's knock it down and knock it up. There is a very mild difference there with playing with those. Adjusting the white point, again you can see in the sky definitely a lot of difference when you're manoeuvring these settings around. I might raise that a bit actually, I don't know. I think I prefer a bit of a dimmer sky rather than the pure white. I prefer it being a bit more dim. Tonal range, let's have a play with that. Again, that seems to darken the entire image, doesn't it? We can lighten it up and darken it down a little bit. It makes it a bit more, I don't know, a bit more like it's in the night or something along those sort of lines. Let's do it before and after. See what I mean? It's making it look like it's a bit later on in the day, isn't it? And you can adjust that to make it look extremely dark. I don't think I'll do that just now though. Let's minimise that one, go into the expand key, and you can change the black point here, which makes everything a heck of a lot darker and a heck of a lot brighter. Colour mode Luma, let's play with that. And again, getting differences in the highlights, etc. Minimise that one for now, I'll turn that off for now. The print, this is where you can adjust for different types of paper. At the moment it's set to linear. I think I've seen this 2383 used a fair amount online, but I've had a brief look through the different types of print film paper that they've been using on other reviewers who've been using this software. 2383 did seem to be a popular one. Let's turn that off again. Let's turn that back on. What do you guys think? With it off it looks quite grey, with it on it's a lot darker, isn't it? And I'm all for the dark, so I might go for that, you know.
Quite nice that.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Minimise that one. Colour head, I don't think that's going to make much difference to a black and white image, but it does to an extent because you can adjust. I know it sounds crazy, but if I turn that on, for example, and I whack it up to blue, you see you get that unusual blue effect. You can make it yellow, so you set that back to normal, or you can have a red glow on the image, a cyan glow on the image, whether that's something that you want to play with. I mean, you could put green up crazy, magenta up crazy, or you could just have a very mild little addition of any of them, you know. It makes it, again, it's a sort of a bluey grey sort of image. But I'm going to remove that for now. And I'll go into film grain. And this is where a lot of people dive into Dehancer to play around with the film grain. And now this is set to custom at the moment, so let's just turn the film grain off again and let's do a 1:1 on the image. Let's turn it on. You see all of these dots here where you've got the actual grain in the film that's now started to appear, and you can adjust these to make them bigger. You can adjust the amount, so you can have tons of grain in there, make it really, really messy. Let's zoom back out again on that now. You see all this grain, you can really tell in the fine details now there's grain all over the place because I've just gone balmy with it, you know. Let's revert those back and just have basic grain on, shall we say. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I think you can adjust the grain in the shadows, in the midtones and the highlights as well. mid-tones, adjust that and make that a little bit more balmy. Let's knock that back down again, see the difference it's making to the wall there when I'm adjusting the mid-tones. You've got quite a lot of grain and then you've got virtually none appearing. I'm not sure if you can see into the shadows quite so much, but if I drop that down and whack it back up a little, on a full screen, especially on a printout or something like that, you will see that a lot more, I think. This is the custom mode as well. If I drop those back to normal, change from custom mode and just stick it into sort of 35mm ISO 250, and then let's drop back out. This gives you the grain, but it's sort of a preset for you to pick from, and you can have 8mm, and you can adjust it to whatever you want. You can have it on ISO 500, so you've just got that sort of grain. I might leave it on ISO 500 actually for now. I'm not quite sure how halation and bloom etc will affect this image. One of the things I'd like to know how to do, which you guys may know, is can I move this around with the keyboard? I can't. No, I think I just have to drag it. Okay, let's get towards the light there. Let's turn halation on. Right, okay, let's see what we can do, or what differences it makes. Let's just try 8mm halation. Right, okay, so immediately you can see a difference. If I turn that off and then back on again, you're getting the glow around the light there. I mean, it's going to be affected more with bloom as well. If I stick that to 35mm, it's a bit less of an effect than it is at 8mm. 16mm. Okay, these are the custom modes as well. Okay, I'm just going to stick that on basic 35mm for now. Turn it off, turn it on. Let's have a look at that on the big image. Off, on. Okay, let's go into the bloom now. Let's turn bloom on, and let's go into the custom modes. So maximise this image again. Let's move it back over towards where we've got a bit of light, and let's have a bit of a play with bloom and see what sort of things we can do. Highlight to 29 at the moment, so let's whack that up, and you're getting a fair amount of glow. See here on the building we're getting a lot of glow now. If I revert that back, it goes away. If I drop it down, if I whack it back up again, okay. Let's just turn that off, turn that back on. Yeah, so you can see a fair amount of difference there. You can amplify this, make it go a little bit crazy. Let's go back to the full image again and have a quick look. And let's turn that bloom off and turn it back on again. I don't know what it is, but I kind of like it, you know, but I think it is a little bit crazy, that. So let's just pop into these modes here and stick it on 35mm, and then turn it off, and then turn it back on. That's more of a mild addition of bloom to the image. I do quite like that. Let's go back to our original image now. Wrong button. There's our original image. It was just sort of I don't know, it's sort of very late afternoon, early start of the evening there. And that looks similar, but a little bit later to me in the evening. Now the other thing you can also add to this, now I don't know how much it shows up in black and white images, is the film damage. So I'm going to leave everything as I've done so far with that picture. Let's turn the film damage on. Now, I won't go balmy in custom just yet. Let's just whack on, say, the 8mm, and you can see here we've got a couple of tears and spots that have appeared. Just look at that piece on the building there. If I turn that off and then back on again, there's another scratch here. There's that one there. I think that might be one. Yep. So you've got quite a bit of minimal damage there really. Stick it onto 35mm. Not quite as much showing up on there. I'm just flicking through on and off with 35mm. I never really see a great deal of difference. Let's zoom in. Let's turn the film damage off. Yeah, there is a bit there, isn't there? See over here? Got that little white spot. Turn that film damage off and then turn it back on. Okay. Let's minimise those down again. Get the image back up to full. I'm quite liking that at the moment. I mean, it's not the best image in the world. I'm not the best photographer in the world, but I do quite like how it's looking. Overscan, I don't know. I'm not particularly overfussed on the overscan thing. You know, you can get some kind of creative type images using this, I'm sure. You know, if you stick it on Super 8 or whatever, or stick it onto 35 again. Neat sharp, neat rounded, so you get the rounded bits on the top there. Positive, so you get the white dots. Horizontal, the scale of it. The lens zoom, so you can knock that down. So you just get your picture inside. I mean, I can understand that people probably would use this for one reason or another. It's not really my cup of tea, but then you may find that perhaps one day it could come in useful for yourself. You can change the offsets of the image, so you can make the image move about inside that frame, overscan frame there. So it makes it look like it's a flickering image off a film, and you could save that and put that onto your website or something along those sort of lines. If you do video, you could say, oh look, you know, is a scene from one of my films or something along those sort of lines. Maybe I could see where it would come in useful. And vignette, I do like vignette. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I do kind of like a bit of vignette on an image. You can also have a white vignette, or you can have it a darker one. I think where it was okay, to be honest with you. The size, don't particularly need it to be too massive, to be fair. And you can feather the edges of the vignette as well. But I'll leave that where it is. I think from a very basic, quick point of view of using this on a black and white image, I think that's not too bad. That's what we've come from. And bear in mind, we've not used this or Photoshop before, really. So it's kind of a learning curve for us, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So yeah, I don't know, I kind of quite like that. I do like the night and I do like the evening and what have you. So I don't know, that sort of gives me that kind of vibe. And then you can chuck that into Photoshop, of course, and you can have it so that it's cropped and adjust it to whatever you want. So you could change that to however you want it, really. Okay, so let's go from here. I'll click on cancel on that one, and just bear with me. Rightio. Let's have a look at another image. So close all. What should we fetch up next? How about this picture of Liverpool docks at night time? It's one that I just took when we were over at the Albert Dock a while ago, wasn't it? So again, let's go into filters, go into Dehancer Film. Let's fire it up, and that seems to have remembered everything from the previous image, doesn't it? Because it's gone to the black and white film and what have you, and everything's turned on. So it must remember the settings, I'm assuming, of where you last were. However, I don't want to have this in black and white, so let's adjust it. Let's stick this into, should we go for colour negative? Let's go for about a Kodak of some kind. Let's have a nose through a few. Let's go, well, portrait I think is for portraits, I think. So let's try Hector. What have we got there? Okay. Well, let's just have a nose through and see what we think. Okay, that is Kodak Gold 200, Kodak Hector 25. The portrait ones, these are for portraits, apparently portrait, if I remember correctly. Kodak Pro Image 100, Kodak Super 100, and then there's some Konica ones here too. I can't even say that. Is that Rolei? Rolei CN? Or Rolei? Like Rolleiflex or something? And then we've got Fujicolor. Variety of different colours. Fujicolor Superior, Fujicolor Pro 400, Cine Still, Agfa colours, Agfa Colour Implosion, Cine Still again, Atrium Colour, Fujicolor. No, I might try a Fuji one on a nature shot of some kind, so I might pick a Kodak one for now. Kodak Gold 200. Okay, let's give Kodak Gold 200 a bit of a play. Let's see what we can come up with. And you can adjust here the amount that it is affecting the image. But I'll revert that back. Stick it back onto Kodak again. Silly boy, turn it off. Kodak Gold 200, okay. Right, let's have a play with the settings on this one. So there's our original, and now we've plonked on the Kodak Gold 200. Again, it's made the image slightly darker than it was when I took it. I mean, you can have it crazy insane, as though the place is on fire, or you can have it as though they've just turned all the lights off. Let's revert that back to where it was. I may knock that up a little. 0.25. Temperature compensation. Let's see how that affects the image. Now it's colour. So the colour of the bricks as we're knocking that up are getting very more intense, and if I knock that down, bricks look quite washed out and cold. I'll revert that back. One thing I'm not too sure on how to do, you see how you set that to 45 and you drop that to 25 and you go, oops, I don't want that, I just want that back to 0 again. Click, it knocks that back down. So there's probably a way around that, or it may be just a case of just type 0 back in there again. I'll leave that where it is for now. Let's go into the film developer, contrast boost. Right, okay, so if we give it a contrast boost, it does darken the tops of the warehouses there. Drop the contrast and it looks very washed out and grey. Gamma correction on this colour image. Blast that up and blast it down. Don't see a great deal of difference there. Let's try it right up, knock it down, try it right down, knock it up. I don't see a great deal of difference there. Perhaps those of you who use this thing a lot more might say, oh, this is what you're supposed to see here. Colour separation equally, not seeing a great deal of change there. But yeah, I'll leave film developer settings alone for now. Film compression, let's turn that on, turn that off, and zoom in onto the warehouse a little and turn that on. There we go. I do like this bloom, etc. around the lights. And compression, I don't know, it seems to, I'm not sure what you'd say that was doing to the lights, but it seems to be taking the glow out of them a little, making them look a bit more artificial somehow. But then you can adjust it. See what I mean? When the impact is quite up, you see you've got this oval shape around here. Knock the impact off completely. Yeah, I'm not too sure on film compression for this one. I might leave that off for now. Expand, this is where you can play around with your black and white points again. Make things very dark, or not, or play around with your white points and make everything extremely bright and look a complete mess. And I'm sure that if you get these balanced exactly where you want them, you can get an absolutely wonderful looking image if you've got time to play. And that's one of the things with this, you know, you do need to have plenty of time to play with the image to make it look exactly as you want it to. At the moment we haven't got this paper, this print film setting on, so let's turn that on, turn it back off, and turn it back on. See the tops of the building are getting darker when I'm adding this. This is the Kodak 2383 film. Let's try 3513. Slide it back over. Put it onto Cineon film log. And that's the one that looked a little bit washed out. And then you've got Kodak Endura glossy paper. Turn that off again and turn it back on. Okay. I don't know what it is, but I get kind of a green feeling from that 2383 film. Yeah, for this image I kind of prefer the Endura glossy paper, though it does make it a little bit dark. I don't want it too bright either. Let's revert that again. Don't want it too dark and I don't want it too bright either, so I'll just drop that by 0.25. I'm not going to play with it too much. You can mess with the saturation and stuff like that and make it sort of a black and white image or back up to a colour image, but that looks okay. Film grain now, so let's zoom in to the warehouse. Not the best image in the world, it's just one that I've grabbed off the computer, but there's the Albert dock. Let's stick some film grain on. Yeah, there's a definite reduction in quality with the film grain on. Let's go to custom and let's start making it crazy. Loads of film grain, big film grain, and loads of it. And let's zoom back out on that one now. Bit more difficult to see until you zoom in really on this image, but expanded you could definitely see just how much of a mess you can easily make if you go a bit too wild with this stuff. Let's change it from custom to 35mm ISO 250 say. I don't think that that is too bad. Turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. It takes it from looking a bit digital to a little bit filmy to me, if that's a word. Which is all the whole purpose of the Dehancer program really, is to make your digital stuff look filmy, so I can see that that would definitely be of benefit to some. Let's have a play with the lights, shall we? Here we go, we've got the lights here. Let's stick halation on. Okay, I don't know if that's a little bit too much. Let's zoom out as an overall. Might be a little tad too much that, I think. Let's zoom back in again. Let's head over to the lights and just turn it off. Turn it back on. Yeah, it's just a little bit too much red in amongst the extremely bright lights there. But again, you can go into custom and you can knock some of these things down. The amplify, smoothness, background gain. Knock some of these down a little. So how does the source limiter affect it? Smoothness. Okay. blue compensation if you turn that down a bit. Okay. That's without with. I'll back up a little. Let's reverse all these changes I've made. Okay. Let's try that impact. Let's knock that down. Yeah, I think the impact is the one that's having the biggest impact. So let's revert that back up again. Okay, so let's drop impact from 70 and knock it down to, where should we go, for about 30? Let's turn that off, turn it on. See, that's definitely having an impact on the image, but it's not making it look quite as ridiculous now. Off, on, see, you can see the subtle differences in the lighting there, but it's not too crazy. I think I'll leave that where that is now. Let's go into the bloom. So this will pretty much change the overall, the overall lighting. These two seem to go together quite well. Bloom and elation. I mean, I'm coming into this with a bit of a digital eye, I suppose, these days, because it's been quite a while since I shot on film. So sometimes when you add these things, you're thinking, oh, I'm just ruining my image, but I don't know. That it's not exactly ruining it, it's just making it more film-esque, I suppose is the word. Yeah, I quite like that 35mm bloom. I don't think I'm going to play with that too much. Overscan again, not a big fan. I think I'll leave that. Vignette, I always like a vignette. Whether it particularly needs it on this image or not, I'm not too sure. Yeah, what the heck. I'll stick that on, but we've got our dehanced image using Kodak Gold 200 film, and then we can stick it back on the original. There's the original. There's our dehanced version. I mean, it's not a massive difference, but it certainly is a difference. Original, dehanced, digital, analog. Let's have a look at the words on the Albert dock there. There's our digital version, which is, to be fair, pretty good for the distance we were away from it on a very budget camera. I think this was the Canon 800, this one. And then if we on, off, yeah, I think that looks quite alright. What do you think, Lou?
Yeah,
it's okay.
It's good.
Yeah, that's not too bad, that. Again, you can OK and you can save that and save that to your images, etc. I don't think I'm going to on this one, so I'll cancel that. I'll close that file, and let's have a play with another one. Only from a basic sort of point of view. I'm not going to go too wild now because we've been through quite a few of the settings, but this is Liverpool St John's, and I just wanted to make it look a little bit more along the lines of it was took in the 70s, really. Obviously you've got the new buildings over here. It's just that the St John's is pretty much a 70s, 60s, 70s sort of precinct, so I thought I'd and you could, I suppose you could crop this out really and just have this here. Shame that these are a little bit more modern. If you had like old red telephone boxes, I'm sure people could Photoshop them in and make it look even more as though it was from the past. But from a sort of a basic point of view, let's knock everything off for now. I think we'll have a quick look at this and then perhaps have a look at the portrait, get a picture of my granddad up or something. Let's have a look at the presets, shall we? Let's go through the presets and see if we can 75s it. ADOX colour implosion. Look at that. That's a little bit extreme for me, a little tiny bit extreme. These are presets that have been set by the Dehancer team as well. You can import them, you can make them yourselves, save them, etc. But I'm just going to go for Dehancer team ones at the moment, I think. Let's have a look and see what we've got to choose from here. Let's have a look at Agricolor 100. Yeah, that's got kind of a 70s vibe to it, hasn't it? Just out of interest, let's have a look at the portrait one. Not quite as 70s-esque as this one, I don't think. Then we've got Fuji. Fuji Reala. Fuji Chrome CDU. I think the Eterna one's looking like a winner at the moment, but let's carry on. Got Fuji Chrome. I don't know, I kind of like that one. It's got a bit of a bluish tinge to it. Velvia. That's not bad. That's not bad. That looks quite old-fashioned. It's not the film grey enough. Get back on again. Okay. Elation off, elation on. Vignette off, vignette on. Yeah, I kind of like that one, to be honest. I thought Fuji would be more geared up towards landscapes and things, but that's alright. Yeah, see, that looks a lot more filmy, taken on like a 126 Kodak camera or something like that than that does. That looks like it was taken on an iPhone last week, so yeah, I do think that the Velvia 51 at the moment is looking like a winner. Natura, I'm assuming that's for nature. I'm only guessing here, by the way. Let's bypass these and head into Kodak. Kodak Aerocolor. Kodak Ektar, is that Ektachrome film, is it? Looks a bit washed out there. That looks a little bit too modern. That's along the right sort of lines. Kodachrome 64. Then we've got portrait, because I think the portrait ones are for portraits. Supra. Supra 100. Ultra Max. Vision 3. There are loads of these things to choose from. Konica Centuria. Konica Impressa 50. Well, that looks a bit blue. That's Orwo Chrome UT21 Daylight. I mean, that's kind of on the right kind of lines as well. I think that's a black and white or sepia tone type. I mean, that'd look okay if it was sort of an old still from the Liverpool Echo or something, you know, St John's sale starts this week or whatever. You've got this old sepia image out of the paper. I do like that one actually. Gorski 1906, experimental. Were they doing colour film in 1906? Or was that just the number of the film? Yeah, I don't mind that one. I think that looks okay. And the Rolly. So it's a toss-up for me between the Prokudin Gorski and the Fuji. Was it the Fuji Eterna? Yeah, I think I kind of like that. Do you think?
Yeah, that one's the best out of the two, I think.
Yeah.
For the retro 70s look, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to adjust the image. You've got these modern post boxes. You've got the modern, whatever the heck that is. I'm assuming it's a bin. Then we've got the telephone boxes. And
that's a post box. The other red one for parcels, I think.
Oh, is it? Right. Okay.
And those two post boxes, they may not be they may look modern, but they may not be.
Oh, okay. It might not be. I mean, I think you can get away with the clothing because this could be anything, couldn't it? There's not too much. I
suppose if you zoomed in on them, you could see what the cipher was on them.
Yeah, more than likely. Ryman's, that's not quite really a 70s, and this Clayton Square thing is new. But it does make a bit of a difference, and this is just using the presets that are built into the software. So if I turn that off now, and then turn that back on again, you know, it's just giving it a bit of a mild mild look. And I mean, you can whack on things like film damage if you want, film compression and things like that. Take those off, put those back on, and it gives you like an older look. Okay, let's come out of there, cancel that one. There's our St. John's. Just have a quick look at Grandad, shall we? Let's load up Grandad. I think we're going to have to find Grandad because he's in here, if I remember correctly. He's hiding somewhere. There he is. There's Grandad. It's a couple of years ago. He's 100 now. I think he's only about 96 or 95 on that one. Young whippersnapper. Right, so let's go into Dehancer. Let's go into Dehancer Film. Right, okay, so this is still using the preset from earlier. Let's default it back onto there. Let's click on films. Let's change it to black and white. Let's have a quick nose through some of these. That looks old, doesn't it? That looks like something out of an old film, especially because it's got film damage on, etc. You know, I think that could be a snippet from an old black and white film from the 1930s when everyone's coming in to chat with Grandad. The only thing that let it down a bit is the hearing aid, but that is pretty good. That I do quite like that. If I was going for a black and white image for Grandad, I think I'd probably go for that because it does look like something from an old 1930s film. I can imagine the orchestra playing now, you know. And this one too, the Ilford XP2 Super 400, that's another one that looks very 1930s filmy. You know, Grandad's come to tell the kids a tale or whatever, you know. Okay, so let's go back into all films and let's find the Kodak Portrait, because these are for portraits apparently. That's where they start on the list here. So we've got Portrait 160, Portrait 160 DNC, DVC, 400, 800, and then you're going into the Pro image. Let's just try a few of these out. There's Portrait 160, 160 NC, 160 VC, difference between VC and NC. Then we've got the 400 and the 800. So they're the Kodak Portrait. Now I'm just having a quick nose on here to see if any of these actually say portrait. I don't think that they do they? Got motion picture, colour positive, black and white, instant. Let's have a look at the instant ones. These are suppose Instamatic camera type images. That looks very 1970s Grandad. I think he looks a bit poorly on that one. You know, it looks like he's got jaundice or something. And that's on the Fujifilm Instax. Instax digital again, quite jaundicey. And Polaroid. I mean, obviously you can go through all of these settings again and adjust this to make it look far better, but I don't think instant is one that I'd go for there. You've got the exotic films. Lomachrome purple. Grandad is going a bit purple on that one. Yep. Colour positive. Fujichrome. Again, bit yellowy. Again, you can probably adjust that in here. These are just the preset ones that I'm sort of flying through. Not the preset, the film ones I'm flying through. But let's go into the presets and have a quick look through. These are ones that are presets that have been set up by the Dehancer team. So let's see if we can find those Kodak Portrait ones again and see what the team have done. Okay, that's quite nice, isn't it? I do like that one. I think, is that the only Kodak Portrait one that they've been playing with? I think it might be. Got Kodak Gold, Kodachrome, Super 100. Vision 3. That's the purpley one again. Raleigh, Produkin. Now I think from a preset point of view, I think that portrait one is quite nice. I can see why they'd use that for portraits. Let's just turn it off. There's Grandad. Turn it back on. Turn it off again and turn it back on. That's quite nice. And then obviously you can adjust things by sticking in film damage. If you wanted to put overscan on, you can. You can add quite a lot of these developing things again and adjust them to your heart's content. But I mean, overall, turn elation off, turn bloom off, turn film grain off, turn film damage off, and then whack them all back on. You can see the difference it makes to the image. So yeah, I can certainly see a place for this, and I'm sure that if you had some images you wanted to make look older, I think that you'd probably find this software quite useful. I generally would use this more, I think, for the likes of Premiere, like we did earlier, or DaVinci Resolve or Final Cut Pro, because if I was going to make something look old, I'd probably want it to be video rather than photos, but I can also see the benefit in being able to make photos look old. If you've got an old gentleman who's dressed in an 1940s outfit or something, you could make it look great, couldn't you, in this? You know, you could have like a guy dressed as a mobster and make it look as though it was taken in that era fairly easily with the likes of this software. Or if you had an old car that you wanted to make look as though it had just arrived from like 1930 or whatever, and black and white with loads of scratches all over the image and what have you, then that too would be possible using this. One of the things when Dehancer got in touch with us, which was a big surprise because we're only a tiny channel, we just got an email off them saying, you know, we've been watching your channel, would you like to try this out? Drop a review and just say what you think. So that's what we've been doing. But one of the things Dehancer said was, would you mind having a look at the mobile app for us? So if I can get it working, we'll try and give that a blast on the next part of the video and see what we can do with that, see what sort of playing around we can do with the images there. But hopefully you enjoyed that. It's not Grandad back into black and white now. There's the original. Yeah, so hopefully you'll stick around to see the app, and we'll catch you at the end of the video. Okay, take care for now. It's bye from me and bye from Anne-Marie. And let's have a play. We've got to figure out how on earth to get the app recorded onto the screen here. We haven't got a flipping clue, have we?
Well, you can screen save it onto the screen like you do on the TV downstairs.
Yeah, you can screen share, can't you, somehow? So I'll try and figure out how to do that and then kind of edit it in.
Because I can do it on my phone.
Yeah.
On a Samsung, they're brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know, but
you've got an Apple phone.
Yeah, we'll have a play anyway and see where we get up to with it. Okay, I'll stop that there. I'll stop screen recording and we'll catch up with you guys on the next bit in a minute. Right, hello there guys. We're now going to have a go with the Dehancer app on the iPhone. So for the first time, we're going to try and do screen mirroring on the computer and see how it comes out. I've not tried this before, so bear with me, but hopefully this will come up okay. Firing up the program now. Pretty much all of these photos were Anne-Marie. She sent me a whole pile of them earlier on for use in the app. I just said send me a couple of photos. I think she sent me half a gallery, so we've got plenty of pictures to pick from here. I'm not sure which one to go for first. What do you think? Should we go for the Lancaster aeroplane? Give that one a blast. Okay, so I've clicked on the Dehancer software, loaded it up. I've loaded up my Lancaster aeroplane photograph. And at the start here you can see you've got presets and edit, two different menus there. So I press on presets, and then at the bottom here there's a whole pile of different film emulation presets that you can pick from. Like for example, if I was going for a kind of a sepia tony type of effect, I'll try out this Ambro type by Anatoly Green, and that gives us a World War II bomber just outside the hangar sort of picture, doesn't it? It's quite effective, that I think. I'd be quite happy with keeping just that one, but let's flick through a few others. Here we've got Astrum Colour Negative 125 film. Again, you can see there's lots of grain in that image. Cine Still 50D and Kodak Endura. Let's have a look at the Fuji films. We've got Fuji Eterna Vivid 500 Exp 2013. Again, that's quite good as well from an old-fashioned colour photograph point of view. That actually looks pretty similar to photographs that my granddad used to take in the 1960s on his camera. They used to come out quite similar to that back then. But there's an absolute plethora of them, as you can see. Fuji Chrome Velvia 50. Look at all the grain in that, there's absolutely tons of it. Let's have a look for some Kodak ones, shall we? Let's fire forward past some of these Fujis. Oh, hang on. Just have a quick look at that Fujifilm Instax one. But as you can see, there's absolutely tons to choose from there, isn't there? Kodak Eastman XX film. Again, an old 1940s looking jobby. Kodachrome 64 experimental. Quite like the look of that one as well. There's Portrait. Now I think Portrait stands for portrait if I'm not mistaken, but let's give them a blast. That's Portrait 400, Supra 100. But as you can see, there's a whole pile of different films you can pick from here. Konica Centuria 100, and all of them give you a different effect on your images. If this is something that would be of use to you, maybe it's worth having a look at the app. I think you'll get a watermark on the app if it's not paid for, but that may actually do you, you know, unless you're a bit more of a pro and you want to have it for use for yourself without the watermark, then you might be interested in buying the software for the phone alone even. Also, if I go on here and go to, rather than preset, I go to edit and then switch this little selection at the bottom, see here, I can move it to crop, so I can crop the image however I want to. So I could crop it into that if I wanted to, which I don't want to. Oh look, I've killed it. Let's go back to our aeroplane, and then if I go back to edit again, see on this Kodak Endura glossy paper, you can change that, but ideally I'd start at the beginning with your source, and you can change things such as the exposure, your tint, you can defringe the image and things like that. So all you do is click on the little circle, say for example on exposure, move that to the right, and you can really overexpose your image, or you can really underexpose your image. And if you double tap on the little circle, it takes it back to where you started from. And then you've got your temperature compensation, make it pretty chilly and blue, or pump it up and make it a bit orangey. Tap it again, back to normal, back to where you started from. Then you can go into your different types of film. So let's just have a look at Kodak Vision 3 250D for example. You can pick that film and then it will keep that film for you. And if you go into developer, you can adjust the development of the film by giving it things like contrast boost, lower the contrast on the image, again double click to get rid, gamma correction, you can move that up and down as well. Colour separation you can adjust, so I'm not seeing a great deal of difference there myself, but you never know. Colour boost, let's see if that gives it a boost. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Look at that plane now. Let's knock that colour boost back off. You can certainly see the difference, can't you? And if I drop the colour boost down, we lose all of our colour. That was in developer. Go into film compression, and you can give the overall film compression an impact or a low impact. A white point, you can adjust the white point. The tonal range you can adjust as well. And the colour density again can be adjusted here. Expand, as if this is where you can adjust your black and white points of the image. Adjusting exposure again, really, isn't it? Colour mode is set to normal. You can change it to Luma if you want to. I'm just going to return that to normal. I can return the white point to normal. Print is where you pick your paper. This is currently set to Kodak Endura glossy paper, and again you can play with the usual settings here that we've already had a quick look at, exposure, etc. But when you adjust your paper, for example, if you go to the 2383 print film, you do get a slightly different look on the different papers. And on the colour head, you can adjust the colour, so you can make the blue stand out more, like so, or you can make it a bit yellowy, like so. You can do that with all of the different colours, so there's no point going through everything there. You can adjust the tone of your shadows, make them lighter, make them darker. Your mid-tones, your highlights, so you can make your whites but go a bit crazy or lower there. And you can adjust the impact that it makes as well. On the film grain front here, you've got custom film grain. Now I've not really played with this a great deal, but what I did find on video was that 8mm gave it a very grainy type look, and you can go absolutely crazy with the amount. See, look at the state of that now. If I double tap that back, it makes it a bit less grainy, but if I change this to 35mm film, look at the difference. See, the grain is much less. Even when I fire it right up, you know, I don't think it's as bad as it was on the 8mm film. Halation, so you can get your little glow around the lines of the plane. Now I'm not quite sure. Yes, you can zoom. I wasn't too sure if you could zoom into the image on the iPhone, but you can. No halation. Let's whack the halation up. And we've got bloom as well. Yes, we've got bloom. Zoom back out a little bit. Amplify the bloom a bit, sorry. What do you think of that? Vignette. I'm quite a fan of vignettes, so I think I'll have a bit of a darkish vignette, perhaps not quite so not quite so dark. You can feather the edge of it as well. Then you can add film damage in the app as well. We could put like a full frame film damage. You can see here, see the film damage that's been applied. Now that I've been messing with the settings there. And you can also add overscan. I'm not a big fan of overscan, but it is popular. People do like overscan, so let's just change that from negative to positive. There we are. The gate shape is neat normal. You can have it neat sharp, neat rounded at the tops. If I can get on a wide screen there we go. Lock it back down. So ultra 16mm, say. Interesting. Let's go for 8mm with the one hole in the picture. So there we go. Now we're looking at an image there on the screen, which is 8mm photograph. I think I've messed it up there, so let's revert back. What I've done is just revert back all, and it's put my image back to how it was at the start, pretty much. Okay, so let's go back, tap on the image button there. Here's my recent images. Let's pick another one. Let's pick this steam engine here. Let's just have a bit of a play with it. Yellow wheels on that machine, isn't there? Let's find a black and white one. For scale, maybe that ambrotype again. That looks quite good, doesn't it? This is just to have a bit of a play with a black and white image, really. Just having a bit of a play with the settings here. Let's whack the bloom and highlights up. Let's go a bit crazy, shall we? I think. Very bloomy wheels now, aren't they? See the difference on the wheels there. Halation. Come on, let's go crazy and have a look and see what we can come up with. Film damage. It's a film damage here. Let's go a bit mad. Let's put about 70% dust. Have we got any tears in there? Oh, hairs we have. There we go. Let's put a few more hairs in the image. Scratches, here we go, scratches. So we want a fair few scratches on the image as well. Whether we can see them, if we zoom in a bit, can we see any scratches on there? Yeah, I think there's the odd few, isn't there? I think if you go absolutely crazy, it's going to make the image look ridiculous. But what do you think? Should we just go ridiculous? Come on. Let's whack a whole pile of stuff on there and see what it's like with a ton of stuff added. Go a bit wild. You can certainly see it, can't you? See it moving across the screen as I'm adjusting the amount that I'm adding. I mean, it is starting to get a bit silly now because I'm adding a little bit too much. See all these scratches all over the place. But then that could just be an image that you found in your uncle's cupboard, so it's fair enough, I guess. Now, one thing I wouldn't mind having a look at, the wheels were yellow, weren't they? If I play around with the yellow, I'm not sure if you can sort of individually adjust individual colours, so to speak, you know. I'm not sure. I can see yellow, blue, but I don't think it will allow me to adjust it. That's cyan. Maybe not. Leaving the colour mode. But yeah, that's colour boost. There we go. We can adjust the wheels a little with that colour boost mode there. So, yeah, I mean that's just a bit of a play around with the app. That's what we started off with.
Because the video as well. If you wanted to do a video.
Yeah, it is. There's video of that one as well.
I sent you a video, so.
Yeah. So that's the base. That's basically the Dehancer app. I'm not too sure Anne-Marie said she sent me a video of that, but I can't see the video.
No, so, it's not of that. It's a fun fair video.
Oh, I see. No, I can't see that. But let's get up a very brief little picture of the fox here. Now, this is a video on my phone. It was just a fox running around in the garden, so to speak. In the garden, in the car park even. Nothing particularly special. It's just to show you that you can, if you want to, play with videos on your phone as well. So let's put that last edit with all the scratches and everything and make Mr. Fox black and white, covered in loads of scratches and things, see? I mean, that's a bit of a ridiculous sort of scenario. You wouldn't really have that, to be honest, but it just shows you that it can be done if needs be. You know, there's our fox in Agricolor. So the app on the phone will do photographs and it will also do video. But it was only a brief sort of look at the app, that's all. So I hope that you enjoyed it. And let me know what you think about the Dehancer app overall. What do you think of it? I actually quite like it, and I think that over the next few months, I think that myself and Anne-Marie will probably use it a bit more. As we get a bit more used to it. Like I say, we're complete beginners to the app. We didn't even know how to screen record till we did this evening. We haven't used Photoshop before, and we haven't really used Premiere that much. I've usually used DaVinci, and before that it was iMovie, so we're quite new to all of it really, but we've quite enjoyed playing with it, haven't we?
Yeah.
And I think that as we get more and more used to it, we'll probably come up with even more fun stuff, won't we? Drop some videos back to a 60s look, maybe get some black and white ones in and have a bit of play with titles and things like that, see what we can come up with. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you do like it, don't forget you can get 10% off using the code Lindopski. If I can make a QR code, I'll stick it on the video.
And it's spelled LINDOPSKI.
Yeah.
Lindopski.
That's it. That was the old name for the channel for many years.
Yeah, we changed it to Memory Gatherers, didn't we? Because it sounded better.
After about 18 years, wasn't it?
But Lindopski, that'll get you 10% off. Lindopski.
Yeah, so there we go. I'll clear off for now. I'm going to now try and figure out how to put titles and all sorts onto this using Premiere, which is probably going to take a couple of days. And we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep.
Okay, bye-bye for now.
Bye.